But like I was saying to them, they asked me about the weather and what it's meant to be like in Alaska. Last week it rained every single day except for the last day. Alaska weather can be realistically anything it wants to be. It can be 80 degrees and then it can be raining, it can snow, and we've had everything. Last week there were a lot of ice cubes, as I like to call them, a lot of big ones floating around, so that changed our itinerary a little bit. So the weather is very unpredictable. However, in the morning time, you are very tall. In the morning time, it does tend to be a little bit rocky like this, and then once we're like hidden by the mountains, it will be calm, and then you'll be able to see like the whales and the orcas and all of that fun stuff. So keep your eyes open. The thing with seeing whales and marine life is you have to make a choice between I want to do all of this stuff or I want to stare out the window. So it is a choice that you have to make, because you can't do both unless you're in Promenade Lounge. All right, now before we get started, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Sean. I'm part of the cruise staff team. We wear the red, the white, and the blue on most occasions. You'll see us in a lot of different other things. Formal night, we wear our formal attire. Pixar, we wear Pixar stuff. Tomorrow, you will see us in 3 different types of Frozen outfits. So you'll see us around. We're responsible for all the family and adult activities, so we're the fun people. So when you see us around, know that it'll be a fun time. Are you here for the tour?
Oh yes.
Woohoo! All right, so with this tour, what I'd like to tell you is we don't go to any backstage areas. I know, huge disappointment. The reason for that is 2 major reasons. One, you could all be spies from Carnival. And the second one is safety. It helps us keep you safe, because let's be honest, there are crazy people out there, and if they knew the inner workings of our ship, they could do anything. So we just like to keep everyone safe, and of course, keep away the spies. What this will cover, it will cover some of the art theming of the ship. We'll talk about the history of cruise lines in general, and then we'll talk about the history of Disney Cruise Line and where we started and where we're going. Question I want to answer right off the bat that everyone always asks me. I know nothing about the new ships. I don't know where they're going. I don't know their names. I don't know who will be the captain of those ships. Nothing. All I know is that they are set to be larger than our largest ships, the Dream and Fantasy. And just to give you an idea how much larger those ships are compared to this one that you're on, they're 44% larger than us. So they're set to be larger than the Dream and Fantasy with one major difference. And the difference is they're going to be larger, but they're going to keep the same guest count. So more space. Yay! That's all I know. I know nothing more, and I will tell you a story later about how much, as Disney employees, we don't know. We find out a lot of things through guests, because you guys are all on Disboards. Raise your hand if you're on Disboards. Don't be ashamed. Yeah. No. So, also with Disboards, if I tell you anything, don't write on Disboards. Be like, Sean told me that the new ships are going to be called this and that. Because let me tell you, there are people within the company that's their job is to read Disboards and see what you guys write about us. I saw him raise their hand. All right, so we start up here in our adult space. This is Apollo. Does anyone have reservations for Apollo? Has anyone dined in Apollo yet? All right, for those of you that have not dined in Apollo yet, you're gonna have a wonderful time. It is an experience. It's like a 2-hour experience, not just dining. Souffle, get the souffle. If you like calamari, get the calamari. Get literally everything. You've already paid for everything. This is food in general on the ship. You've already paid for it, so eat everything. If you don't like it, send it back. But we do start up here in Apollo for one specific reason, and throughout this tour I'm going to ask you a lot of questions just to keep you guys engaged and see what you know and what you don't know. Anyone have any ideas of why we started in Apollo, or why Apollo even exists on the ships?
Because they built the ship in Italy.
Yes, they built the ship in Italy. They built the Magic and the Wonder in Italy, and they built the Dream and Fantasy. Does anyone know where those were built?
Germany.
They were built in Germany, and that's where our newer ships will be built as well. So each ship that we have in our fleet has Apollo on it. On our classic ships, the Magic and the Wonder, it is the top tier restaurant. On the Dream and Fantasy is not the top tier restaurant. Who knows what the top tier restaurant is? Remy, yes. That one I've never even seen, so that tells you how exclusive it is. So we're up here in Apollo. Anywhere that you sit in Apollo has that wonderful view of the ocean. Any ideas of why we may have that? A lot of people think it's because Of course, it's an extra cost, so you're paying to be up here. Let's give you the best view. That is not the reason. The reason for Apollo being where it is because in Venice, no matter where you eat, you should see a canal, you should see the water. And so we wanted to replicate that on the ships. And of course, because it is the best restaurant on board. Now, with everything within the Disney Cruise, or Disney company in general, everything has a purpose. Everything has a reason for why it's there. No stone is left unturned. So, let's talk about the mask. We'll talk about the guest books. Everything that we purchased for Apollo, if we didn't make it itself, it was bought in Italy. So with our guest books, of course, you could go to any store and buy some other books and have white pages in them. No, we don't do that because we're Disney. We have to go that extra mile. So every single guest book that comes on our fleet are purchased in Italy. So with the mask, fun little story. When they were deciding to build these ships, when we first went to Italy, they had to go shopping to see what they wanted to put in the restaurant. So we went to the first store. We had our Venetian mask. We needed other things. So we asked them, where could we get this? Where do you think we should go for this? And so the store owner said, you should try this store. They have great books. So we went to the bookstore, got the books, and this is what we want. So then we were like, well, where should we go for this? And they were like, go to this store. It turns out that the stores were all owned by the same people. They're a family, so basically they got us. When you pass an area, what are you hearing? What did you notice about the carpets? Anyone notice anything?
They changed.
They changed. So from Apollo to Cabanas, it was that drastic change. And outside of Cabanas, the runner said, Cabanas, let you know that you're in Cabanas. But then when you left Cabanas on the next, or even here, what is this one? It's a shell.
Yeah.
So what you may not realize, because you've just been on the ship for a day, is that the runners in the midship, the fore, and the aft are different. And the reason for that is so that when you get off the elevator,
You know where you are.
sometimes you're lost. You don't know where you're at. But you know that you're not where you want to be. And how we do that is with the runners. So when you step off in your stateroom, say for example, you have the shell. If you get off and you don't see the shell, you may not notice why you know that you're in the wrong area, but it is that the way things look, it's all different. So when we pass from the aft of the ship to the forward of the ship, I want you to look out for the runners to see which ones are in which places. What did you notice about the artwork on the wall going down? Goofy. Yes, Goofy is in the aft of the ship. So all of the artwork on this side of the ship will always be Goofy. So again, people look out to see which characters are where. All right, so speaking of the carpets, with Disney Cruise Line, most fleets out there, not including Disney, have up to about 50 different carpets on their ships. Disney Cruise Line, because we're Disney, we go that extra mile. We have up to 120 different carpets, and each represents something different and the reason as to why it was put there. Now, one thing that you may have noticed in your stateroom hallway, you have the globe, you have the 4 ships, and you have the stars, and then you have those flags. Anyone can take a guess what the flags might say? Disney, that's a good guess. But I mean, you're not wrong. You're half right. Half right. Disney Wonder, yes. So on all the ships, the nautical flags spell out the cruise's name. There was this one time, I have to tell you this wild story. I gave this tour. I've been giving this tour for almost 3 years now, and this boy, he was like 18 years old. He was like one of those Disney people that knows everything about Disney. And he came up to me on the cruise and he was like, Sean, so I looked it up and it doesn't say Disney Wonder. And it threw me. I was like, what? What do you mean? And so I, like, for the day, I was like, have I been telling people the wrong information? So then I was like, well, I went on the internet, which everyone knows is super expensive. I went on the internet and I was like, let me look up the nautical flags. So I looked up the nautical flags, I went out to the carpet, I took a picture, and I compared the two. And I sat there and I was like, it turns out that this boy threw me because he read them backwards.
Oh.
So when you're looking at them, if you're standing this way, they read not up and around this way, they read down and over this way. So just keep that in mind when you're looking. On each ship, it does spell out its ship's name. when you're looking at that carpet, when you see the ships, that is where the stars are on the globe, is where they pour out of the most often. So you'll see the Magic over in Europe. You'll see us here in Alaska. You'll see the Dream and Fantasy over in the Port Canaveral area. The stars, if you get lost along, the point of the star always faces forward. So that's a good way to know, am I forward or am I aft? Where do I need to go? How do I get there? Another great tip, and because this is an adult tour, I can say this, you look forward to entertainment. So the theater is always on the forward of the ship. So if you find yourself at the theater and you're looking for dinner, just know you need to go to the aft. When you consume food, it goes to your midship in your aft. So therefore, the restaurants are either in the middle of the ship or they are in the aft of the ship. So that's a great tip where you're walking around and you're like, I don't know where my restaurant is. It's midship, aft. All right, so we're gonna go on and we're gonna go
Smaller will actually go on sale for this.
Smaller for a reason.
You can join Christina,
For the kids. Yes, that is what everyone thinks. No, that's not the reason. It's part of the reason that it does help put the kids up there. Put the kids on the smallest space. They make them feel like they're grown and they're grown into
now, for those of you that are looking to head out,
the reason that deck 5 is smaller is for the atrium. So that the atrium looks taller and larger. So it's like Cinderella's castle, and that term is called what?
Forced perspective.
Forced perspective, where it makes things look a lot larger than they appear to be. So, yes, deck 5
this is with Sal, your port and shopping guide, and he can literally tell you everything you need to go.
But
Best places to head to, the best
the
deals.
nursery, what did you notice about the nursery? That space right there at the reception area is quite small, right? Not a lot.
Now this morning we actually have some exclusive events for our
here's the
adults
fun
here
thing
on
about
board,
the nursery.
and one of my favorites
When we
is coming
first
your way
launched
at
Dinsey Cruise Line, that
10:30
reception area,
a.m.
that was
This is
the
the
size
first
of
in
the
our
nursery.
series of anyone
We
can
didn't
cook.
think that,
Today, we
I
are
know,
doing lobster
wild,
and
right?
scallop
So this is a
fisherman
family cruise.
pie.
We didn't
Now one
think
of our
that people
chefs
would
here
bring
on
their
board is
newborn
going to be
babies.
up in the D
So we had all
deck
these
number
babies
4
on board. We had
ship.
like
They're
20
going to teach you
babies.
how to cook this,
And then that
give you the
number
recipe,
started to double
also give you
to
a
like
little bit of
100
tasting
babies
as well.
on board.
Once
So we
again,
were like, oh
lobster
no,
and
we need to
scallop
change this
fisherman
because if you put all those
pie,
babies in that
one
little
can
area.
cook in the
So
D lounge on deck
behind
number 4.
there, there's the rest
Now,
of the
if you're going to head on home and impress your friends with that great dish, you can actually stay there in the D lounge because at 11:30 we'll be doing a napkin folding class just for the adults again. This is going to really show you how you can throw that perfect dinner party when you're out time. You can impress everyone with that recipe,
Some of the kids
and of
don't
course
want to
the
leave ever.
napkin
They
folding
like
on
their
the
chicken
table
nuggets
as
and all
well.
that other stuff.
But once again, I do want to say if you're heading to that presentation, we're getting started in just about 8 minutes time now in the Walt Disney Theatre on deck number 4 forward. I'll see you all there. But whatever you choose to do, make sure you check that personal navigator. There is so much in there, and we try to have something for everyone, so don't miss out on the fun that you want to do. But whatever you choose, have a great day, and I'll see you out and about.
Oh, you're good.
around the
We're
ship.
tall. That is one thing that you notice a lot on this tour. I don't know why. I haven't really figured it out. But people duck or they whisper to me. I'm like, it's okay. You don't have to duck. Everyone can still see me. Or they I'm like, it's fine. You don't have to whisper. All right. So we passed the Oceaneers Club. Now inside the Oceaneers Club, if you ever get a chance to go in there during an open house, be sure to go in there. It's really cool. It's really fun. It's colorful. It's a great place to take pictures. Now, with the Oceaneers Club, that in the lab, they were designed after the parts, in the sense of the hub and spoke. Does anyone know what the hub and spoke is?
Yeah.
Do you guys work for the company?
No.
We just love it.
So the hub and spoke, basically, what that is Walt designed the parts so that people wouldn't get tired, more or less the adults. They would let their children run free and wild, and that you could go all the way around the park, or you could meet in the middle. The spokes go out. Here in the club, the reason why we use that is for the kids, so that when the kids go in there, they feel safe. They can be in the middle. They can see everything that they need to see. They can see all the different rooms. They can see the bathrooms. They can see all the counselors, and they can see where they could try to escape from the doors, or where their grown-ups are going to pick them up from. The other major reason for that hub and spoke is because the kids have a lot of characters that visit them, and you wouldn't see Tinkerbell in the marble room. Actually, that would probably be quite scary for her. Guns and whatnot. So that's for the characters. They can go through that middle and go to their different realms and their different worlds without crossing through some other world. And that's the reason for that. So there's a lot of things that are mirrored here on the ship from the parks and whatnot. So we're going to talk a little bit about the history of Dinsey Cruise Line. We're going to talk about history and where some words for seafarers have come from. First things first, does anyone know what is licensed as the first Disney ship?
That's not the answer to everything.
You don't know this one?
The big red ship?
The big red boat, yes! It is the big red boat. That is the
No one likes to
offer
know it
that
all.
we ever- we had a contract with them where we gave them, some of our characters go there. You get...
It's a new one.
I've never seen that one before. Usually it's like a little, but I've never seen them get like real low. And the crazy thing about it, she's short. So the big red boat, we offered our characters, we offered tickets to the parks, and at the end of that contract, we didn't think it was in our best interest to continue on with the big red boat. And for good reasons, because if you look up the big red boat's history, they end up selling all their ships to all these different places, and it was wild. So then we went to other cruise lines out there. We went to Norwegian, we went to Carnival, we went to all these other different ships. And we're like, hey, we're at Disney, do you want to do business? Well, here's the thing with doing business with Disney. One, we'll either take you over at some point here, or if we don't see that it's in our benefits, we won't do business with you. And so it wasn't in our benefits.
Yeah.
So what we did was we created Dinsey Cruise Line. Now with Dinsey Cruise Line, there are a lot of challenges. Now this is how you can tell if someone truly works for Disney, if they use the word challenge. We don't have problems. We never have problems. We have challenges. We have challenges on what color the ship should be. We had challenges on our lifeboats. We had challenges on even building our first ship. So my first question to you is, what color is the ship? What colors make up the ship? Blue,
Gold.
gold,
White.
red.
White.
Blue.
Where'd you hear that?
Mickey yellow.
Mickey yellow.
Yeah.
All right, so Monica Blue. That is a great story. Now at this time I do have to ask, Monica, are you here? Raise your hand if Monica is here somewhere. No, she's not. Anyone work for the company here? Perfect. Once upon a time, someone gave this tour, and they said that Monica was this woman that just came up over the horizon, and she was wearing pants that from far away looked black, but up close looked blue. And they're like, Monica, give me your pants. We need to make our ship this color. And Monica ripped off her pants, and then it all became history. Well, Monica was on the tour once. And Monica did not like that version of the story because it left out one major detail. And the major detail that it was, it's not that it was like story told, but it's that they called her some random woman. Monica is an Imagineer, and she helped design the ship. So to be reduced to a woman just wearing black blue pants was insulting to her. It was not my tour that I was on because I actually know that she's an Imagineer. But even to this day, some people will give tours and call her just random woman. I'm like, she's actually an Imagineer. Like, give her credit for where it's due. So the colors are Monica Blue, Mickey Shoe Yellow.
He's really good.
We're learning good tips. Jeffrey's excited. I'm going too.
Anyone know where the hidden Mickey is here? Not you. You've been on the ship since you came out of the womb. Anyone else? Anyone else? You're standing on it. That is Sorcerer Mickey's hat. Oh, crazy! Wild!
But that also looks like a Martin. Why?
Well, that's the purpose. That's why it's hidden. If we just put Sorcerer Mickey's hat there, then it would be Sorcerer Mickey's hat. And thus, it's being a hidden Mickey because it's hidden in a martini glass. Mind blown. All right, we're going to continue on into the atrium, and I'm going to finish up there and give you a lot more information. So, yes. All right, so we've made it to the atrium. Now, I just have to tell you this story about this man. I think he was taller than you, and I knew he was tall when he came because I was on boat line, and he came through, and he ducked, and he was like, oh, you're so tall, and he was at bingo. And I was standing there at bingo, and I was like, yeah, it's a tall guy. And he came over. This is big hard. He went like this to me. And I was like, this is short. But then they started asking all this random questions because believe it or not, tall people, all of you short people out there, us tall people, we're real people too. We have ordinary problems just like all of you. Like sometimes you guys can't, we have challenges, yes. Sometimes you guys can't reach the things at the top. Sometimes I just don't want to bend over to reach the things at the bottom. So they started asking this man all these questions. They're like, what is it like taking a shower here on the Disney Cruise? They're like, just like the rest of you, wash your body. And then they're like, oh, he's just so tall. I feel so bad for him. I'm like, why do you feel bad for him? He stopped. I was like, you know who I feel bad for? And he had a baby with him. He was a little girl. I was like, this is who I feel bad for. I feel bad for her first boyfriend that she brings home. Over there. You want to date my daughter? But I digress. So back to the atrium. We're at the bottom of the atrium, and as you can see, it looks taller and it looks a lot more grand. You can see how short everything actually is from down here. Now, once upon a time, when we first released these ships, the Disney Magic and the Wonder had another staircase. The reason for that, and the reason that Triton's is in the middle of the ship and not the aft of the ship, is because back in the day, the floating palaces of yesteryear, they had that grand ballroom, that grand staircase that led into the main formal dining area. And this is how we replicated that here in the atrium. We do have the grand staircase in the main dining room. Now, if you look at the gold leafing up there, you will notice the different characters. You will notice that they're doing different things. Those characters represent the crew and what they do. So you'll see Mickey, he has a microphone. That is the entertainment department. You'll see the hotel department represented. You'll see the spa, you'll see the beverage, you'll see housekeeping, you'll see all of that represented in those characters. However, on our larger ships, they represent you, the guests. Now, with the atrium, as you would notice this great big chandelier. Now, who was on the ship before it was dried off, and what was up there?
It was like a long chandelier.
It was a longer chandelier. You think it was nicer? There are a lot of people that prefer the old one to
A truly?
Yeah, truly. I think those ones is the pieces would break off very easily. So they change it. They change it on the Magic as well.
Definitely more sort of spectacular looking.
But the other thing, because it was so long, you couldn't see around it, so they had to
That
change
makes
it.
sense.
So this one is a representation of, well, the one thing that we did discover is that there's an overall theme for this ship. Does anyone know what the overall theme for the ship is? It's Art Nouveau, yes, but what is the theme? Under the sea.
You say it's all Ariel.
And you'll see Ariel's statue, and that is why she's here. So if the overall theme is under Ariel, or under the sea, and Ariel's right there, what do you think the chandelier is meant to represent? What? Water lilies? Something specific to do with the Little Mermaid. The flower in her hair. Yes, it is the flower that is in her hair. And again, we had challenges with even this window out here. And it was all handmade. So what they did was, one of them out there, he put on some gloves and he bent it. He was like, I want the petals to look like this. So then that is how they created that. The one major challenge that we had with this chandelier is how do we light this chandelier so it does not cast a red shadow over the entire atrium. So you'll notice the lights are in very specific places and a lot of the lights are on the outside. I know, wild and crazy, right? All right, ladies and gentlemen, I have time